the team that we expect to be the division winner,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And Tyler, I have a question for you. Why did the Kansas City Chiefs lose the Super Bowl?
I think weak offensive line, and Patrick Mahomes was running for his life.
No, they didn't score as many points as the Bucks,
Oh,
but
okay, that too.
that was the main reason why they didn't score as many points as the Bucks.
I didn't know this was a trick question here. I was calling foul on
Uh,
that one.
but obviously, they noticed that their offensive line was a big problem. So, I mean, they addressed it. They brought in the 17th ranked left tackle in Orlando Brown Jr. They
Mm-hmm.
brought in the 3rd ranked left guard in Joe Tooney, and then they brought in the 13th ranked center in Austin Blythe.
Yep.
Uh, not to mention, I hope I don't mispronounce his name because of what he did this past year, but Laurent Duvernay-Tardif
Mm-hmm.
was their right guard that missed last season because he went to he has a doctorate and went to go serve on the front lines of COVID.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Okay.
and then Kyle Long, who was a right guard for them, retired, and then is now unretired, and they're projecting him to play at left or at right tackle.
Oh
He
okay.
has the dimensions for it, but that's kind of what they're expecting him to do. So that means all 5 offensive linemen will be new from 2020 to 2021.
Yep. Well, and not to mention potential Creed Humphrey as well to help
Yeah,
compete for any of those spots. Well, I guess not the left guard spot because I think Joe Tooney's kind of got that wrapped up. But
and left tackle, left tackle.
and left tackle. But
I think the 2 that are really up for grabs will be right guard and right
yeah,
tackle.
and they got 4 solid options because also you didn't mention Mike Remmers as well, who was the right tackle last year. But like
Mhm.
that being said, that they got 4 solid options when 4 very solid and capable guys. Creed Humphrey probably being at the
Yeah.
lowest, but I think most other teams would probably take him as a starter, so that's not a bad
Mhm.
option to be in. When that's only scary. That's actually only scary to think that Kansas City was so close to winning.
Yeah.
Well, so close to competing in the Super Bowl. Let's put it that way. They were in the Super Bowl, but Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes is obviously a god out there, and he can do things on the football field that some professional guys can't even imagine doing. Especially, it's funny. I see that commercial of Patrick Mahomes, um, like Superman diving, throwing the ball, and I still remember watching that play. And these people are using it in the commercials. I think it was NFL that was using it in their commercials to promote the NFL, and it's like that was an incomplete pass. Like that was
It
an
was.
incomplete pass, but it was
It's the
still
most famous
so
incomplete
amazing.
pass in
It was the
history.
most amazing incomplete pass I think any of us have ever seen. It
Yeah.
was so amazing because he should have been sacked 2 or 3 times, and then the fact that
Yeah.
he was able to throw the ball 30 yards parallel to the ground
Yeah.
is absolutely unreal.
And then not only just throw it 30 yards, but then also throw it and hit his receiver in the face.
Yeah,
Like that ball went through a receiver's hands and hit him in the face.
most amazing incomplete pass we will ever see. I don't
Yeah.
say we will ever see. I can't see it, that we have
Well,
ever seen up to this point.
I was going to say he has probably 12 more years in the NFL, so
I hope so. He's fun to watch. He's really fun to
he
watch.
is.
He's got a lot more Super Bowl opportunities in his future.
Yeah. And so one of the things that this offense did to me that was impressive, especially the fact that they didn't get any more money from the salary cap because it didn't
Mm-hmm.
move up this year. They really only lost Sammy Watkins. That was the only thing that I guess that they didn't really like go out and get another like big receiver.
Yeah.
But they have guys like Demarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman that can fill in those reps and be just as productive.
Yeah.
And they also drafted Cornell Powell, the wide receiver out of Clemson, who I was pretty high on.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as long as Patrick Mahomes is there, I think their offensive side of the ball is going to be fine. But I think, especially going into this year, it'll be better than it was last year, which is kind of scary to think about because they were a top 5, top 3 offense.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's crazy to think. So just between Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, you're looking at, I think, is that my math right, 2,700 yards and 26 touchdowns,
yeah,
which is just insane. And then between the two gentlemen that you just mentioned, McCole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson. That's another 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. And what Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, how much attention that you have to focus on them. They're not only are they going to get open, and they're going to get open, but even if you lock those two guys down, then how are you going to guard McCole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson, and then Cornell Powell as well, who's going to be the new guy coming in. So they just have so many weapons on the offense, and not only do they just have these weapons, but they utilize them so well. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy do great scheming and get these guys open, and in more ways than one. And it like that's why they're also so amazing as well. It is just they have all the key pieces, and they all use them. They utilize them to perfection, which is why the Chiefs are here to stay, and will continue to compete for Super Bowls over the next couple of years. Because one of the things that I was shocked in when doing my research, because I actually thought, I mean, they gave up 31 points to the Buccaneers last season, and in the Super Bowl, and so I'm thinking, their defense has some issues, and that's going to be some of the pieces that they're going to need to address. That was actually I was wrong. Like they had the 11th ranked defense last year. They have a pretty solid defensive line with I think amongst their starters. I did a major math at 15.5 sacks as well. And then you got Tyrann Mathieu leading the secondary, and they're bringing back 3 of their 4 starters from last year. Brashad Breeland is still a free agent. They could bring him back. And then if he doesn't come back, Travaris Ward will already be starting or can be CB2. And he had a pretty successful season last year as well. I would say Chiefs fans who watch him every week, let me know if I'm correct on that. But if there's one weakness on the team, personally, I would probably say it might be the linebacking core. But that might be something they could still potentially address in free agency. There's still a couple pieces that might still be available that could help them out. But they provide a lot of good pressure, I think, and they've only continued to add depth. And they just re-signed, as of today, it's July 20th, they just re-signed Alex Okafor to help add defensive edge depth to that team. So with their improvement of the offensive line, man, they're going to be scary. Like it's funny. We were just talking about the Los Angeles Chargers potentially competing against them. It's funny. It's like now I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the stats. It's like, I don't know. Like I think Chargers can make the playoffs, but now I'm double guessing. This team stays healthy and this offensive line stays healthy. No way. This team putting up 30 points minimum. They only put up 30 points. That might be a bad offensive day for them.
Yeah. Well, so I do want to talk about their defense for a little bit.
Yep. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I think the linebacking core is the weakest part of that defense. I mean, they're pretty much going to rely on Nick Bolton, who's going to be a rookie, and Willie Gay, a second-year linebacker, to kind of carry the load. One of the guys that they lost, I'm going to totally butcher his name, but it's Tona Kabsanong.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the right pronunciation or not, but he was a guy that, in my opinion, was a big loss, and I feel like a lot of people outside of the Chiefs organization really think it is, because he was a very good run stuffer, and he actually was able to generate some pressure in pass rushing scenarios. And so that for me is a big hit. I know they have Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and then they signed, is it Jerron Reed from the Chiefs? And the last time Jerron Reed and Frank Clark were on the same team, they were a pretty good duo, but that was a couple of years ago. They're a little bit older now, not quite as effective as they were back when they were in Seattle. So I feel like their run defense isn't going to be quite as good. And I just don't really think that their secondary is all that great. I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's probably a little below average. But I think that they will benefit from a lot of teams playing from behind.
Well, and so that's one of the biggest things. Like I was just thinking that is they can put up so many points that their offense is such a threat. Sometimes their offense is so great that it provides good defense because it puts so much pressure on the other team to have to like if you're playing tennis, like, all right, I got to match serve. I got to hold my serve. They score a touchdown. I got to score a touchdown. I can't let them get 2 or 3 possessions ahead because, maybe their defense isn't stunning, so to say, but they're good enough. And so that's actually where I think that linebacking core does affect them a little bit, and why they probably actually will carry more secondary than some other teams. But
Yeah.
because
Well,
when
they
you are
play
behind,
three safeties
yeah. Well,
with Daniel Sorensen kind of playing like a hybrid linebacker safety role. So
I was realizing that too, because on the depth chart, I was saying that they only had 2. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they only had 2 linebacker positions,
yeah,
which I thought was interesting. I didn't know if I was reading that right, but it makes sense, because if they know
mhm.
that they're going to put up 30 points a game, they need to have the
they
personnel.
they kind of
They
like they just play off coverage.
mhm.
Like, and then if you have, because you have to push the ball down the field against them, so they're just going to already be there. So it's kind of easy to play defense when you can play it like a scarecrow.
Yeah.
Not in an offensive way, but that's just the way that their offense makes other offenses play.
Mhm.
I like, even in the Super Bowl, I remember thinking like the Bucks were up, what was it, 23-6 or something.
Something like that. I can't
And I still
remember.
remember I was like, man, there's 10 minutes left. I hope the Bucks can close this out. Like, just because their offense is so dynamic.
Yeah.
So, uh, I mean, I, the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, and I will say that until proven otherwise. I know my bold prediction might disagree with that, but
Yeah. Well, especially
uh,
then, uh, it's amazing my perspective on them and how much it's changed just really within just preparing for this video, because I've saw the dishes that the Browns made and the Bills. I like their
mhm.
own. They didn't lose much of any talent, and that I saw that was going to be anything significant. Didn't lose any offensive line members. Didn't really lose any key skill player positions. And so, like, okay, like they can maybe compete. And then realizing how much they invested in the offensive line to help
Mhm.
protect Patrick Mahomes and give him time to do his reads, to improvise in case if no one's open. Uh, yeah, I don't know about that. Like it's not going to be from a lack of scoring that's going to stop the Chiefs from making it to the Super Bowl again. It's
Yeah,
going to be really if this defense can, I would say, help just contain the lead that they have. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And so for that reason, just to kind of get into their schedule, I have the Chiefs going 15-2. Uh, they actually start out pretty tough, but then it kind of evens out in my opinion, because they start
Yeah.
out playing the Browns, then they go to Baltimore, and then they have the Chargers at home, and then they go to the Eagles, which is a easy game for them, and then they have Buffalo at home in week 5.
It's actually
And
interesting. Yeah.
that's a tough first 5 games. Well, tough first 4 out of 5 games, but
Yeah.
uh I do feel like they'll probably come out of that 4-1 or 3-2, probably at the worst. But then after that, they play Washington, uh, Tennessee, the Giants, and then Green Bay. And it doesn't necessarily sound like Aaron Rodgers is going to come back to Green Bay after news broke the other day that he turned down a contract extension from them. So
Yeah, I did hear about that. We need to do a video about that, but that's for another day. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm looking at I'm going backwards. Their last game: Broncos, Bengals, Steelers, Chargers could be a tough one. That's the game we were
yeah,
talking about. Raiders, Broncos, Cowboys, Raiders. Yeah, I could see them winning all 8 of those games. Chargers probably being the toughest one. Um,
yeah,
and so you're right. If they can come through, the one that I would watch, honestly, and just because it's week 1, so it's going to be kind of a toss up. People getting their sea legs. That game against the Browns, I think, could be very interesting. The Browns took it
mhm,
to the Chiefs. Now Chiefs did upgrade their offensive line, but the Browns are also coming back healthy. They're going to have a healthy offensive line as
yeah,
well. So that's going to be a very fun game to watch. So that one could be up there, and the Bills as well. One of the biggest things, actually, the huge advantage for the Chiefs is the Browns, Chargers, and Bills game all at home. So
yeah.
That's a nice advantage for them. But I think they're going to win the division. I think the Chargers are going to compete against them. They might be able to take a game against them. It's funny how
Yeah.
we the evolution of our like, oh, the Chargers, maybe they could beat them, and like now we get to the Chiefs. No, I don't think they're going to beat them this
No,
year.
well, like I kind of said it when we were at the Chargers, is like it's like the Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance,
Mhm.
and like,
Well, yeah, there's a chance the Texans could win the Super Bowl this year. They're not, but there's a
I
chance.
mean, yeah, but I would say 96% of the time they're gonna win. I think 4% is the outlier on that.
I like the specificity of that.
Yeah.
Could have been 95. You're like, no, I'm going to go 96. So,
Well, I did the math in my head, and that was the number. So,
all right, that's good.
uh,
But yeah, I mean, just like my final thought, really, only team that's going to beat the Chiefs this year and prevent them from winning the division is Kansas City. You're just looking at the stats, but they not knock on wood, it's going to be the kiss death. But they haven't really had too many skill player injury issues. Sammy Watkins was the main one, but that wasn't that big of a loss.
no.
But like if something happens to Tyreek Hill, for example, that's going to be a big loss. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, but then you know what I mean. Like those are going to be the guys that are going to be,
Yeah.
they stay healthy, and this offensive line stays healthy and really meshes well together. I don't see them losing this division now.
No. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Tracy Take. I know these episodes are probably a little bit longer than what we had planned on, but we had a lot to say. So you guys were saying we didn't do enough research on the first round, so we added in more content. So you get what you ask for. Again, we just want to say thank you guys for 100 subscribers. Let's try to get it to 1,000 by the start of the season. It's ambitious, but I think we can do it. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe.